Chloe Sigmund. I'm one of the directors here at Houzz. I work with a lot of the support teams that help with businesses just like yours. So I'm going to walk you through ways to get help after our conversation today and kind of show you along the way. But really looking forward to taking a dive into all things Houzz Pro today. And Cameron, I know you briefly introduced yourself, but want to say hello?
Sounds good. Good to see everybody. I lead the product marketing team. Talk to pros like you all every day. I'm here to direct questions to Chloe and make sure we steer the discussion into exactly what you want to see. Chloe has an agenda that we wanted to cover, but we have plenty of time to dig into anything you guys want to hear about.
Great. Okay. Well, let's pop into the agenda of what we are going to go over. So then that can kind of shape maybe some other suggestions you guys have of what you would like to see. Let me pop into that and we will take a look at what we have. So on my screen, I'm going to go over just a general Houzz Pro overview of the things that you can get to know and love and explore. We'll touch on a lot of them today, but there is so much to know about Houzz Pro. So I'm going to show you all that we have. And then separately, I know not as fun, but definitely critically important is to make sure your settings on your account are set up. So you have that done in advance of getting some projects coming your way. We're also going to talk about your company, your team members, kind of delegating some things to them and setting the permissions appropriately. If you haven't yet explored our Houzz Pro Clipper, your mind will be absolutely blown. So I'm really excited to show you that and how that can start incorporating into building your first project and your first documents on Houzz. So that's what we have in store for you. And then, of course, we'll touch on some of the other things that you guys suggest along the way. But let me go ahead and I'm going to dive into my demo account. And please, again, pull up yours, follow along side by side with me. I want to make sure you're getting the most out of this. So let me switch.
Yeah, and we're going to use you can use the chat window, but it would be better if you use the Q&A window so we can like vote up the questions and we can see them all. So put any questions you have into the Q&A window and we'll make sure they get addressed.
Amazing. Okay. So on my screen, you're going to see Houzz Pro. And this is, of course, the main homepage here. If you haven't yet dove in, I know some of you are brand new, maybe just signed up with the program. How you get here is just go to pro.houzz.com. This is going to take you into the back end for the software to better manage your business. So I'm going to spend a lot of time here today kind of going through all the things. But like I said, I want to give you just an overview of Houzz because like I said, we are end-to-end, includes so many things for your projects. So depending on the different subscriptions you may have purchased, there's a lot that you can explore. I'm going to dive into a project just to kind of go down briefly on the rail here of what's included. So again, depending on your plan, we're going to spend a little bit of time here on selection. So curating different services and products and building out a board where you can collaborate with your clients before you get to a document. We also, of course, have proposals and estimates, takeoffs. So if your plan includes takeoffs, this is a great tool where you can upload a PDF plan as an example, take very accurate measurements, take counts of doors, measure for baseboards, take areas. So you don't have to go out there physically on site to do measurements. This is a very popular tool with our contractors. Sounds like some of you are interested in diving into our 3D floor plan. We can spend some time on that. We have mood boards as well, unlimited cloud storage, schedule, tasks, ways to share and collaborate with your client through the dashboard, daily logs, time and expenses. There's so much here in Houzz Pro to explore. And then, of course, we have a lot of different things that can help you on the finance side as well. So maybe not our strong suit for some of us, but this can really help give you the tools on the reporting side to ensure that you're measuring your profitability, you're understanding where the gaps may be. So lots of things to explore even beyond our session today.
So I know most of you are new to Houzz, more or less. After you've seen this sort of menu of features, let us know what you want to dive into. We have time for it. We want to answer all your questions. Sorry to interrupt you, Chloe. Keep going.
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to tailor this to you guys. So I want to, again, just give you a little lay of the land here. So obviously we're within a project, but I do want to point out some ways that you can get help because it's great that you guys are joining our webinar today, but I know things are going to come up. You're going to have questions as you start diving in, and we are here to do that. So what I'm going to first point out is on the left-hand side, there's this question mark that you'll find. And there's so many amazing resources here. So you'll see our help center. This has really powerful guides and tutorials on all things related to the software. You can browse by features. You can search for something more specifically. So if you're interested again in getting some help on 3D, you can start seeing all the different tutorials and guides that we have. Help Center is a fabulous resource. Also under this question mark, we have other guides to getting started, different places where you can kind of drop into directly in our Help Center. Lots of tutorials, webinars like what you're in today, plus some even more expanded on versions. We have Learn as well, which is a great resource that holds a lot of these recordings, a lot of the conversations that we not only have just with training, but with other fellow contractors and designers. There's also certifications and success stories that you can read up on. Another thing that I love about this resource is it includes all of our latest releases. So Houzz Pro moves fast. We got a lot of updates that are constantly coming out. This is a great way to stay in the know of new releases as they're being added to the product based on your feedback. The other thing that I'll point under here, under this question mark icon, we have a fabulous support team. I work very closely with them. We are open from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday. This is our phone number. You can feel free to give us a call. You can also submit a ticket to our team. If you do have a dedicated point of contact, you may also see someone's name here up at the top, as well as a link to book on their calendar or email them directly. Lots of ways to get support. And then the final thing that I'll point out here is in the bottom right. This is a super powerful tool. And the most popular ways that people like to get in touch with us is just to chat with us live. So you can send us a message. We have experts on standby waiting to help and support you. You can bring in screenshots, videos, etc. They can do the same to help guide you through anything that you may be stuck with. So lots of ways to get help and support if you haven't yet explored all those functions.
And we read every one of them. So
yes,
don't feel like it's going to go into a vacuum. We read them all the time. Yes,
we absolutely do. Okay. So let's spend a little bit of time then kind of navigating over towards settings. I want to make sure that those are set up so we can kind of get moving on to things. So if you click on this little settings wheel over on the left, we're going to jump into business documents first. So some of you may already have this set up, which is fantastic, but if you have not, I would encourage you to do so. All this information carries over to when you start building your estimates, your proposals, invoices, POs. So it's great to, of course, upload your logo so everything is professionally branded. And all of your contact information appears here. You will see that it is grayed out. That's because it's pulling over from the information on your Houzz profile. So if you see something here that needs to be updated, what you want to do is hover over this icon on the bottom left, click Go to Houzz, and you will see an option here to edit your profile and settings. So if your address is incorrect, you can go under your contact info and make that quick update here. So just wanted to point that out in case anything there didn't look correct. You can go ahead and do that. The other things that we have under this setting is, of course, your shipping addresses. So if you want to have that attached here, and of course, accounting. We're going to get into our QuickBooks integration here, but this is more so to set up your taxes. So very easy to just add in your sales tax, make sure that that appears on your documents moving forward so you can adjust your tax rates, etc., right on this screen. Okay. So next, let's go ahead and talk about team members because I want to make sure that they're in the system if they need to be, and you can delegate certain things to them and set the permissions. So that piece is going to be under company, and then we're going to go over to team members. So when we're on this screen, as you're following along with me, you'll see up at the top how many seats you have available. And this is based off of your plan. So you can go ahead and invite team members if you need to add anyone additional that's included in your plan, or you want to add them to your subscription. All you do is click invite team member. You add in their email address, select what role you'd like them to have, and it gives a brief description on the right. However, permissions for any team member listed here can also be adjusted. So I'm going to just go into this screen so you can see that I can change what they have access to. So for example, maybe I have someone on my team who I strictly want to limit what they can access to mood boards and 3D floor plans. I don't want them touching anything related to invoices or proposals or purchase orders. I can start turning things on and off. I can also limit what they have access to on the project. So if I want them to have access to everything, great. Or if I want to segment these by designer or by project manager, I can, of course, deselect things as well. And I can do something similar with my leads. So maybe, for example, I have certain individuals who I want to be on my sales team that are going to be prospecting leads as they come through. I can assign those to different individuals or deselect leads for them to work on. So lots of different permissions here as well that you can adjust and make sure that you're setting up appropriately.
Yeah, so make sure you dial this in for anybody you want to add as a full-time employee on the platform. We can also cover subcontractors real quick since we're in here, because subcontractors they're free to add to the program.
Yes, yeah. So let's go ahead and go over into subcontractors. So here we're actually going to be making some improvements here very soon with a subcontractor dashboard. So be on the lookout for updates. But what you can do is you can import a subcontractor list, or you can add them manually one by one. So adding a subcontractor is very easy. You add in their email, company, phone number, what trade, name, etc. You can select which project you would like them to have access to. And down below, it explains what they will have access to if you like. They don't have access to any like financial documents, client communication, etc. It's primarily reserved for daily logs, schedule and tasks, a general just overview of the project, including their name and location, and then files and photos that you may want to share with them. So it is a bit more limited than a team member. But like I said, you can import a list as well. So we have lots of individuals coming over from different systems. Importing your subcontractor list, you want to use our template that's provided here. Plug in the different information by each column, drag and drop it back in, and we'll load in that contractor list for you. Great. But yes, it's a great way to get started and get those guys in using a system a little bit more sophisticated. Keep it all in one place as far as communication and what's happening on the project. Okay. Any other questions on like team members or subs that you see coming through, Cameron?
Nothing coming through, but please let us know if you have questions about how you want to use this with your internal team.
Yes. By the way, I will point out before I move too far along, if you have not yet downloaded the Houzz Pro app, I would encourage you to do that, as well as your team members and even your subs. It's a great way to kind of get this communication also on the go. So if you go to the App Store, whether on Android or on an iPhone, you want to search for Houzz Pro and go ahead and download that and log in. It has a lot of other functionality too, and a lot of the same things that you're going to see on this desktop today, but it will help you because I know a lot of us don't sit behind a computer like myself and Cameron all day. So go ahead and make sure that you get that downloaded. All right. So next, what I want to do is go over our Houzz Pro. Actually, I want to go over a little bit more on the settings side. So we talked about business documents. I do want to go and talk about online payments. So we talked about team members having access to certain things, but it's important that you're also setting up how your clients can more easily pay you when you have those great projects, right? So if you click on online payments, if you're not yet integrated within our system, you'll see this black Get Started button. It's going to ask you for a little bit of information. We're connected with a third party called Stripe, who's the leading provider with financial services here. It is a great thing to have. We accept both ACH and credit card payments here in the United States. If we have any friends joining us from Canada, we also accept credit cards. And then the fees behind those. So you can choose to offset those fees if you'd like. You can bake them into your markup as well. Some of our most sophisticated contractors and designers do that. But the fees, just so you know, is 1% for ACH. Credit card is about 3.5. So those are the fees that are associated with them both. There's also some ways to get that money really, really fast. So if you're wanting instant payouts, we also have that option available where you can get your money in as little as 30 minutes with an additional 1% fee. So if you're waiting on money to kind of move that project along, you don't want it to clear in the bank, or if you're just collecting checks nowadays, this is definitely a huge perk of being on Houzz Pro. And believe me, like, your clients will love it. I don't even know where my checkbook is, so I prefer to pay everything online. So make sure you get that set up as well.
Another benefit to mention about online payments, you see those two phones touching there on the bottom right of the screen. You can, if you are in person with your client and they need to pay a retainer or a deposit, you can tap your phone and the money moves across right there. It's called tap to pay. So it's another another benefit to our payment pipes.
Yes.
Question for the audience: how many of you guys take online payments? let you guys chat in there just to keep the conversation moving. But you feel free to move ahead, Chloe.
Awesome. Great. Okay, so we're going to get that all set up. And then I know we had a question as well about QuickBooks. So we have been working tirelessly on really perfecting our syncing integration with QuickBooks. It is a one-way sync from Houzz Pro into QuickBooks, and it's QuickBooks Online, not QuickBooks Desktop. I recommend if you don't have QuickBooks yet and you're thinking about doing it to make your life a little easier on your bookkeeper or on yourself, you want to get QuickBooks Plus or above. I know they have a lot of different versions, but QuickBooks Plus would allow you to use POs as well and have those sync over if they're created in Houzz Pro. So there's step-by-step tutorials here on how to connect your QuickBooks account if you have not done so already. I know the money side can be a little intimidating, but once you connect, you also have access for 30 days to our in-house accounting integration experts. So if you have questions on how to set up things, how to have it map, or want your bookkeeper to talk to us directly, we are more than happy to chat with them. You'll see some options to book a time on their calendar, or again, otherwise you can submit a ticket, call into our team, or again, chat with us and we'll make sure to get you to the right place. Okay, cool. All right, well, keep those questions coming. Keep letting us know what else you'd like to learn a little bit more about. But next, what I want to show you is another integration that you'll see called out here, which is our Clipper tool. So again, maybe it would be interesting to have you guys chat in if you are, for example, familiar with the Clipper, or if you're not. Amir, I see your question about QuickBooks in Canada. This is something we're currently looking into. We don't have it yet, but we are exploring that. So we'll definitely keep you posted, as well as all of our friends in Canada when we have that option available. But yeah, this would be for US right now. Okay, so Clipper. So like I said, it's under this integrations tab. There's a quick little link here to get the Clipper. So this is a Chrome extension. I know there's a lot of different browsers out there. I would recommend using Chrome, especially if you want to leverage the Clipper, because it is fantastic. So if you're sourcing right now and potentially using something like, you know, how Houzz started. We started with idea books. So we're collaborating with pictures with clients, or they're giving you magazine clippings, or you have a book of things that they're picking out of. This is a much more sophisticated way to make your selection process really, really easy. So download that Clipper onto Chrome, and then I'm going to show you how you can leverage this. So there's a lot. We integrate with virtually every site with the Clipper. Some of them have something called smart clipping, which I'll show you a little bit. But I'm going to go into Houzz Pro right now. So Houzz also, of course, offers a marketplace where you can shop for products. You get discounts as a trade member. But let me show you how the Clipper works so you can see it. So what I want to do is expand an image. And then I have this black little Houzz icon up here for my Clipper. When I click on that, you can see it actually loaded a lot of the information automatically for me because I have smart sourcing enabled, which is active on a few different sites that Houzz connects with. But I can also pull things over manually. So for example, if there's another picture that I want to clip, I can go ahead and do that. I can click this plus sign. I can say clip product images. It will pull all the images on this site and I can add to it so I can have multiple views for my client when they want to look at it. So I can add those over. So lots of different ways to utilize this. You can pull in the product title, cost. I can put my markup here. It's also very clear, especially for our designers, what would be a client description versus a description for like the vendor, for example. So I can be really clear with what I want to show versus what I don't want to show. So just watch out for those quick little things. And of course, we can update that in the document too. But all I have to do is just quickly save that to Houzz Pro, and then that's in my library. I'm also going to show you that and how it functions on another website where smart sourcing isn't enabled. So let's go ahead and go over to like build.com and we can look at a couple of things here.
While you're pulling that up, Jody wanted to know if there are implications for the Clipper and smart sourcing in Canada.
No, nothing there. It should work just fine. So you shouldn't have any issues with the Clipper in Canada. You should be just fine.
Okay, nothing on smart sourcing either. Smart sourcing, it really depends on the website you're looking at. If it's build.com or Home Depot or Lowe's, what have you.
That's correct. So there are some websites where we have that smart sourcing enabled where it'll load it all automatically. There are quite a few where you have to do it a little bit more manual, but it still goes super, super fast. So That's actually what I'm going to show you now on build.com. We don't have smart sourcing enabled here, but that's perfectly okay. There's a couple different ways to add information. I like using this like hand picker tool. So if I hover over it, it will start allowing me to grab things by just picking on it and plugging where it goes. So it makes it really easy. I can grab some of those pictures, and I can grab any information that I need down below as well. So it just allows it to be pretty simple of the stuff that I want to grab and include. So again, I can load as much or as little as I want. But of course, you can do that on virtually any website. Depends on if it's manual or smart sourcing is enabled. But
right. And do you have to turn on smart sourcing?
You will see a prompt at the top if it's disabled, where yes, you would have to enable it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, you might have to turn it on, Molly.
Yeah.
Question about 3D renderings. I know we'll get to 3D, but does the clipper work for the 3D models? Can you clip things and put them in 3D?
Great question. We get this a lot. And I'll go over that a little bit with you. A lot of the products that you actually see in our marketplace, what I showed you earlier, let me go back to which tab I was on. A lot of these are going to be in the library that you'll see with 3D. Now, other sites outside of Houzz, clipping a flat 2D image and rendering it in 3D is quite complicated. That being said, though, I know our product manager that oversees all this 3D tooling is working on ways to apply different fabrics, materials, patterns, even more colors than what we have now to more generic products. So that should be coming as well. So be on the lookout. There's always tons of improvements happening to the 3D plan. But short answer, clipping images from other sites and rendering them in 3D is not quite there. Very, very intricate, that one. Okay. All right. So now that we have some examples of things that we've clipped, let's go back into Houzz Pro to talk about selections, because this is definitely a game changer on Houzz Pro for whether you're a designer, contractor, it doesn't matter. I'm sure a lot of us are using this to build our documents or could maybe make our process even better. So if you don't have a project yet, you could just click new and make a sample one to follow along. Or otherwise, if you do have one and you can actually do this in real time and save yourself a minute, and think about a project that you're working on and product that you need to source, I would recommend going into your selections board on Houzz Pro in that project. So I'm going to go ahead and create one from scratch. And let's see, let me make a name here. And I'm going to create a brand new one. So you'll see on my screen that I can add in all sorts of things, right? So whether it's mood boards or images, 3D floor plans, I can go ahead and add them in. But we're going to start with our project items of things that we've clipped. So I can go ahead and grab different things that I've clipped before and start adding them in. So let me go ahead and just grab a couple different items in here. I know I labeled it as bathroom, but I got a couple random things in here. I'll at least give you an idea. So I'm adding in project items. I can also source through other things like my library of the items I just clipped. 3D floor plans I can add as a more visual, mood boards that I may have. So it's a great presentation tool. I can also add in external like images and files. So on this screen, you can see, for example, that I could also create different sections. Let me see, Amir. Oh, Cam, can you put yourself on mute? It sounds like the typing they're hearing on their side.
Sorry.
No worries. Trying to furiously answer questions and make sure that we're helping you guys, but thank you for the feedback. So on these selection boards, you can create different sections, right? So if I want to, for example, create a section for all my hardwood flooring and the options they need to choose, all my faucets, all my carpeting, I can do it that way. I could also source it by room, or I can do different design packages. So lots of different ways that you can build sections. For me, I'm just going to go ahead and do it by room. Let me go ahead and do that. I can change the color if I want. So if I have brand colors, I can pick those. Let me do another one. And then I can obviously drag a lot of the items up into where they belong and start moving things where I want them. Just try to get it a little bit more organized. Okay, So I can also, as you can see, like for example, in the upper right, I can set a budget. So maybe I'm doing a whole home renovation. I want to go ahead and set the budget as I start building things out so they can see that they're, for example, if I give them permission to approve or decline different items, they can see how that would impact their budget based off of the different choices that they're making. If I want to, I can include product links. But the thing that I actually really love about this is the commenting. So I can share this with my client. My client can comment back and say, hey, I really love this vanity, but I'm kind of I like the lighter colors now. I don't want something so dark. Can you source or find me another vanity option that I can look at? My client can send that to me. Then I can also tag my team. So I can tag my procurement team or a project manager and say, hey, can you go find something else for our client and add it to the selections board? So it leaves it all in one place. I have a track record of their approvals of what they've wanted to have happened all along the way. It's a really great collaboration tool. You can see though that I can also have some control of like changing sizes. So if I really want to make it look a little bit different visually, I can do that. We talked about adding sections. I can set an overall cover image that can appear on my client dashboard. So it's really simple, gives you a lot of control on how you want this to look. But when I have all these selections all made, the best thing about this is you can convert it into a document. So this is just one way to create, like, for example, an estimate or a proposal, etc. But if this is a process that you think would make sense for your business, I can easily just flip that over into a financial document. Okay. So for this piece, now that we're in a proposal, which looks very similar, of course, to an estimate, I have a lot of control here as well. So if I want to change names of things, I can go ahead and do that. I can also reorder columns. I can reorder the rows. I can make this do what I want. I can also customize and turn things on and off, or I can reorder from here. And I can also add in new custom columns for myself. Maybe, for example, I don't want to have the numbering that appears on the left. I can turn that off. So lots of different controls here for you to make it how you would like to see it. But like I said, this is just one way to create a document. I can show you, if there's interest, how to create a document from scratch or from a template. But once you have these looking great, I will also mention that you can actually save this as a template. So if you want your team to kind of function in the same way of the columns being on and off or in a certain order, you can save these as templates too. There's lots of different options that you'll see down below of different permissions and other things that you can do here at the top. I'll also point out this quick little automation. We're improving this more and more, but we know that there's a lot of steps as a professional in this industry to really delight a customer. So if you want to have automations where you can, for example, create a task when a proposal is overdue or remind your client that they need to look at that estimate, you can go ahead and do that. Appreciation messages, send a thank you email after your client approves something. So can make some things a little bit easier on you. I'll pause for a minute. Cam, is there questions coming through?
Yeah, there's a few. Craig wants to know if you can group rooms together on your estimate.
You can, yes. So you can see here, I have a room that I've lumped in here. If I click view by, I can categorize that by the room and it will group them together. So yes, you can do that on the document.
Okay, the other questions are, one is around takeoffs, tracing a 2D file into a 3D file, so we can get there, and then Molly's question about Houzz products in 3D.
Okay, we can definitely
get there. When we get there.
Okay, so it sounds like quite a few of you are pretty familiar with this document side of things. The other quick stuff that I will point out, though, is, of course, you can set up your payment schedule on these documents. Now that you got those online payments enabled, this will make it very, very easy. You can click schedule payments and it will break it down accordingly. For our contractors, you also have the option to bill by a percentage when you're creating your invoices. Select payments manually. You can, of course, keep track of those and log your payments. I can attach files. So if there's certain things that I always want included, like maybe a more expansive contract, I can attach that. Terms and conditions, memos, signatures, I can save all these as templates too. These electronic signatures are very, very nice, obviously, where I can, once I send this to my client, I can sign with my finger or sign with my mouse. And then down below is that activity stream. So I can actually see when I created it, when they opened it, when they paid it. So it helps me know and keep track of things as they're moving along. But let me go ahead and just quickly show what the client side looks like. So when I click preview, this is where you can set what you want them to have access to see. So I can adjust some of this as well if I don't want certain things on here. Cool. Okay, Amir, you can turn off the online payment option when you send an estimate. What you're going to do is actually turn that off on the project. So what you would do is go to your project. You're going to click this little pencil icon in the upper left underneath the title here. And then you can go ahead and I don't have my online payment set up, but you'll see an option under here to shut it off. You can also do it overall for every project moving forward. And that would be under your online payment settings once you have it connected. Okay.
Any other questions? I appreciate them all. It's great to get your guys' specific issues addressed.
Yeah.
Keep chatting away.
Cool. Well, it sounds like we wanted to dive in a little bit on takeoffs. So let me do that. So the takeoffs tool, let me go ahead and I'm going to have to grab a plan. Let me see if I have anything in here. I'll grab one. Hold on. Let me stop sharing for a second. I'll grab a plan so we can take a look at that.
So while Chloe's digging out some plans, think up other things that are part of your workflow that you'd like to set up. Schedule's a big deal. We're going to cover takeoffs. We just covered selections. Team collaboration. We can cover tasks if it's interesting to you all. But let us know what you want to cover. We're here for you.
Yes. And I'm just grabbing this. So thank you for bearing with me. And if you have a plan, again, you can upload it, follow along with me. You're going to want to make sure it's a PDF. Okay, let me do that. All right, let me reshare my screen and we'll dive in here. Okay, so many windows. Apologies. Okay. There we go. All right, we're back in action. Okay, so let's create a takeoff. And then let me go ahead and upload my file that I have now. Okay. Okay, so I'm sure your plans are going to be a lot more robust and intricate and many, many pages. So of course you can upload larger size documents. This one's going to be picking up here in just a second. And it might be a little slow with my screen share, so I apologize. Let's see.
So while we're waiting for that to render, Brooke wanted to know if there's a library that stores everything you clip in a mood board. Yes, there is. I'll send you. I'll put a help article in the chat here for everybody. But anything you clip from a website goes into your library, and you can use those items anywhere you want. Mood board. You can use it in a selections board. You can use it in your estimate, in your invoice. You can put those images anywhere you'd like. But I'll put some more information in the chat for everybody.
Right. Okay, let me just go into one where I already have a plan. I apologize. I want to make sure we're not waiting too long for this to load. Okay. Getting closer, guys. Thank you so much for your patience.
Anthony, want to know if you can upload CAD drawings or DWG file formats. For our takeoff tool, it has to be PDF.
Right. Yep. Okay. I got a plan in here. Let me go to takeoffs. Okay, so here we go. All right, so how I would start with using takeoffs is, of course, you get your plan loaded. And then the next most important critical thing is to set your scale. So you may know your scale from what's documented by like the architect on the plan, and you can set it in the bottom left. If this is done incorrectly, then all your measurements are going to be off. So you're going to want to set that page scale here. If you don't have the scale on your document, you can also find the scale by measuring a known length on a wall. So it will give you a little pointer here, measure known length on the wall. Longer is better for accuracy. Then you're going to double click to finish and then input the length according to the plan to calibrate it. So I'm going to click find scale. So maybe I know the length of this wall here. And I'm going to double click, and then I can put in my feet and my inches to calibrate the plan. So let's just say it's 22. And then now my measurements will function accordingly. So that's how you can do that if you haven't figured that part out. I will also point out that on some simple plans, you might see this automate button where it can actually grab things for you automatically, but we'll spend some time more so on the manual side of things. How I would also suggest setting this up is with groups. So if you go in, oops, I apologize. Let me go back. Click happy, apparently. Go back. Okay, so at the top, you're going to see this group drop down. So what you want to do is create all your groups first as well. So what you're going to be measuring for all the time. So whether it's, again, walls, carpet, hardwood, baseboards, studs, you want to create those groups as you want them potentially segmented over in the drawer on the right. So all your measurements can kind of funnel into a folder. So create those groups. I'll create one just as an example. So I can create a group name. And then I could put in a category, and then I can select a color. And if I want to add it to my favorites, so I don't have to scroll down through a big long list, if I'm kind of really doing a lot of measurements, I can do that. So once I create my group, then from here, I'm going to go ahead and select the group of what I want to measure. And then I'm going to, of course, pick the thing at the top that I want. So if I want to measure lengths for example, what I just selected, I'm going to go ahead and select my length tool. And I'm going to go back into where I was, and I'm going to measure the length. And you want to double click, and it will go over to the right-hand drawer. So as I'm taking multiple measurements, it will keep them bucketed under the same drawer. And you can do counts. You can deduct certain things too. So for example, if I'm taking an area, but maybe a portion of it was tile, I can deduct certain items out and erase them. The count tool works great for, like, for example, outlets or toilets or doors or windows. It will just basically put a marker on all those things and keep them bucketed. And then I can click review and estimate. So if this is how I want to build an estimate, I can go ahead and just click that button, and all that will funnel over into a financial document for me as well. So from here, I see all my different measurements I made. And then I can make different adjustments. I can download this. I can save it to the files as well. But if I go ahead and create this estimate, let me go ahead and get this moving. Oh, it did it for me. Sorry. So I have this estimate here, and I can go ahead and send it. I can download it as a file. I can also send it off to, like, my subs, for example, if I need to, or send it to the client directly. So lots of different options. If you're familiar with the Takeoffs tool, we also have some great tutorials on this one as well. And then that's one other way to create a financial document. But like I said, you can also do them from scratch, or you can do it from templates. So those are some of the ways that you can do them. I know we also had some questions on 3D that I want to make sure to get to in the last few minutes.
Yeah, let's go there.
So on 3D, what I would recommend is if you have a phone, a later version iPhone, you can use your phone to take measurements. So the most recent ones have a laser technology where you can walk into your room and it will basically pick up everything for you on your phone. And then you can bring it back into your office to make the edits. So I'm going to show you just quickly what some of the options are on 3D. There's a lot that you can do here. You can also upload a 2D plan as well. So like, for example, if you're coming over and you have a drawing maybe from AutoCAD and you want to use that to start rendering in 3D, you can upload a 2D plan and actually trace the walls to start building it for you. Or again, like I mentioned, you can scan it with your phone. You can build them from scratch, lots of different ways. We also have templates. So I'm just going to jump there first so you can kind of just see a sample of what our 3D tool looks like. And then from here, I can change it to be black and white, color. I can go over into different modes to see that 2D plan versus dollhouse. So you can kind of see I can get a visual representation. I can change paint colors, cabinets, hardware on the cabinets, add different items. A lot of the structures are going to be over on the right. So like for ceilings, doors, windows, when I add these, I can apply a color, the hardware. The generic products are kind of a little bit about what we were talking earlier. So if, for example, I clip something from a site that's not on Houzz or not in the library, I want to find something similar within our generic products, and then I can apply colors. So I'm just going to grab something as an example. Let me go ahead and go to the floor plan. And I apologize that I know this isn't normal to have a vanity in the kitchen, but I would like for you to see that basically you can select the hardware finish. You can select the finish of the cabinets itself. So just to give it something visual here so they have something to reference. You can also put a comment as well on these. So if, for example, you want to say like, hey, like I just want to give you a representation of this vanity, but yours is going to look like this link. You can also do that as well. Or say refer to your selections board to see the actual item. You can have all that on there.
There was a question from Molly about crown molding. Is that an option?
Not yet. That is something we're working on. The latest release for 3D though was actually just, I want to say last week, we released the option to have multiple floors, just so you guys are aware, because that was a popular request. So if I go back into sample, you'll actually see on the upper left, I can create new floors. There's actually a couple different use cases for this. So yes, I can add up to 6 floors. I could also use this as different versioning though. So for example, if I wanted to create more of like a contemporary option versus a strictly modern, I can use these to kind of show different options to my client. But crown molding is, I think, coming. We're just not quite there yet.
Great. Wallpaper? How do you
Not yet. I know that's another popular one. Again, our product manager is working on it. We have a lot of different paint colors that you can apply. Wallpaper, though, and different patterns are something that are currently in development. So we love to hear the feedback. I would recommend if you have product feedback on what you would like to see, a great way to actually submit your feedback is within our site. So go ahead and click that question mark, and then you're going to go into submitting a support ticket, and you'll see a drop down for submitting feedback. So if you're wanting to see something that we don't yet have, that's a great way to let us know. Otherwise, you'll see surveys from time to time where we want to gather that information as well.
Okay. As we sort of round this out here, I want to make sure we cover any last questions you have. I think we've addressed most of them, but this is your time, whether it's about 3D or something we haven't covered today. Did we cover Molly's question about adding clipped products to 3D renderings?
I believe we did. But I would recommend, like, obviously this is just like to get you started, right? So we pointed out a lot of different ways that you can get help and resources and find other tutorials. So take advantage of those. I know we oftentimes also run more deep dive type sessions and webinars on certain features that you're most interested in. So for example, if you want to deep dive onto takeoffs or really deep dive into 3D, be on the lookout for those. But there's a lot of recordings of those already within our help center and that learn page that I showed you earlier. So those should be some great resources for you.
Great. Okay. And again, the little green circle in the bottom right corner of your user interface, that is the live support team that's eager to help. So if you have specific questions, chat in, they'll get you squared away. And if there's no other questions, we will wrap it up. I appreciate all your time. It's great to see you. It's great to see some of these familiar names in the chat window.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Hope you have a great day.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.